Hi guys! Welcome to the first episode of SheSaid Studios. I'm Chloe.
Hi, I'm Emma, and in today's episode, we will be talking about something quite deep, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have thoughts on this as well. So it's something worth discussing, and it is sexual harassment.
You say.
No, I don't want you say.
No, faster, you say.
Okay, never mind, we say together.
Welcome to SheSaid, let's talk.
Actually, when we first started planning for this episode, I posted an Instagram story where I allowed you guys to drop any struggles that you feel like you face the most that isn't talked about enough. The most repeated answer was just sexual harassment in all kinds. It could be sexual harassment go unnoticed too often, or offenders are being treated too leniently.
That sentences are not harsh enough in a sense,
Yeah.
or where the silence is the norm. Being silent about whatever happened to you or whatever you experienced became a norm, as well as there are many categories of sexual harassment, like sexual assault, being catcalled, getting stalked, being told how to dress just because if you dress better or you dress covered up, then you will not happen to experience this kind of thing. But nobody really talks about why is it that we are brought up to have this
in this
mentality.
way. Yeah. And we'll also be discussing why it's such a taboo subject still. And so, yeah, we can start. Actually, one comment that I got while I was reading through all the responses was, girls are always told to be careful and guys are not taught to behave well.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, a lot of times when you go out at night or whatever, your parents will just, as a girl, your parents will tell you like, oh, be careful or don't come home so late. Or your parents usually, as Asian parents, I think most Asian parents are quite strict on the way you dress, especially when you're still young or just become a young adult, right? They're like, oh, you cannot wear too skimpy or you cannot show too much skin. But usually the reason behind that is because you will attract unwanted attention. But nobody really talks about like, hey, don't go around staring at girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally feel that way as well. Growing up as a girl, I don't have a brother to compare that to, but you know, I have never really heard a guy say that, oh, the moment I'm going to step out of my house, my parents tell me, by the way, don't stare at girls, or like, you know, keep your hands to yourself. And in fact, growing up, when even as kids, right, when guys are a bit too playful with their girlfriends, female friends, the parents wouldn't say like, oh, you need to be respectful when you touch girls or you have physical contact with girls. It's almost as if a lot of the times this responsibility just naturally falls on a girl's shoulder to just, you know, cover ourselves up or not dress provocatively.
Or to avoid places where there will be more men or where you will be more vulnerable in a sense. But sometimes you just want to go out and have fun with your friends and you dress a certain way because you feel like you look the best and not necessarily for the man gaze or for guys to see you know. But that's the misconception that everyone have, like, oh, a girl that wears barely any cloth equals to or she's asking for it.
And actually, sexual assault doesn't just mean it also covers things like unwanted touching, being sexualized in school even, and coercion in relationships, and all of which happen to Singaporean women and honestly women all over the world way too often. Yeah, it's something that we really need to talk about. A personal story that I received from one of my responders. She shared that at 14 she was being sexualized. And I think being sexualized at 14 is one thing, but the fact that it happened in a intimate relationship is another thing. I feel like a lot
If
of
it happened in an intimate relationship means definitely it's somebody that she really trusted.
Yeah.
Right?
And not just that, I feel like a lot of girls, and personally for me as well, when we were younger, we didn't really know where the boundary was for intimate relationships. Like, you know, because you guys are girlfriend, boyfriend, but you're young. So, like, where do you draw the line? Where is it inappropriate
When does it
for
get
your boyfriend to.
too much, or like when is it crossing a line? Because there wasn't really a line that was drawn very clearly. I feel
Yeah.
if let's say you are somebody who was exposed to a lot of either social media or just television, TV shows, movies, all of this, you will have an expectation of a relationship from there,
Yeah.
but not necessarily applicable to when you're so young. Because whatever you see on the TV, whatever you see online is usually people who are already grown-ups. So
Yeah.
a lot of young girls that haven't even turned legal 16 or 18, right, think that it's okay to do certain things
Yeah.
with their partner because they're in an intimate relationship.
And I feel like because of like what we are exposed to since young, there's a lot of things that factor into like a relationship. Like maybe the guy is brainwashing you and telling you that it's okay to be doing all these kind of things and that it's acceptable because we are in a relationship. But at the same time, you already are getting these kind of expectations from the TV shows and whatever you watch from the media. But yeah, it just makes brainwashing the girls a lot easier as well at a very young age.
When you get together with somebody or like it happened to be your first relationship or something, you trust this person so much. Like
Yeah.
other than your family, they're probably the next person that you trust the most already. So to you, you see them as an authoritative figure that you can listen to. And whatever he or
Okay, maybe not authoritative figure, but like just someone that is reliable enough and their thoughts and whatnot might always be for your best interest.
True.
Right? Yeah.
It might be for your best interest, but also sometimes I feel that some of these girls are coerced into certain things. But might be because they are scared to go against the partner, scared to upset the partner, or just because they feel that like, oh, if he say it's good or it's correct means it's correct lor. Yeah.
Or maybe they would feel like because we are in a relationship, like it's normal for couples to do these kind of things. So is it my problem that, I'm not comfortable with it? So actually, to share briefly a personal story of mine, I was in a relationship basically, and things happened without my consent, or rather like there were times that it was just me saying no straight up, and there were times where I was convinced into saying yes. And that's the thing, I was told by this guy that, but we are in a relationship, if you love me, this is what you do. And I think it's not even just the disrespect that comes from that, it is also like how this affected my relationships afterwards, and how I saw like a sex life with my partner, or like how we were getting along as well. Because for a long time after that, I've always felt like, if I didn't give this to my partner, that means I'm not good enough, or that I don't love him enough. And this is something I've never talked about actually, but it's deep, it's dark, and like it's real also lah. Like these are things that actually happen to a lot of people, and it might be somebody that you never expected this to happen to. Because I guess on the outside I always look like I will protect myself, and I'm very certain on what I want in a relationship and like how I would draw my boundary. But the truth is, when you're really in that position, it's very hard for you to be super logical and super smart about what you want.
Actually, right, if you were to talk about it like this, do you feel that it's also because not just because you want to, or you trust the person, or in a sense that like you don't want to upset the person, but also because you don't want to lose the relationship?
Not really, because I left after that.
But but as in like
but
in
yes,
that moment when you said,
yes.
when you let it happen, right?
No, actually, if it's gonna get a bit darker, because he will beat me.
Usually, I feel a lot of people, the biggest fear that they have, right, when getting the courage or being brave enough to say no, I don't want it, and then like really be very aggressive about saying no and running away or whatever, right? They will always rather choose to stay silent or choose to go ahead and submit, because they either are too afraid of the person, or they are afraid of losing the relationship.
Yeah. Actually, I think personally for me at least, when I was experiencing that and all that, right, one thing that was,
as you were saying, one thing that you experienced in that relationship.
so yeah, actually one thing that felt very serious to me was not just the fear of what he might do to me if I say no, but it's also because I physically cannot. Because yeah, he would be literally pinning me down, and there's nothing I can do about it in that state, because what can you do? Realistically, this guy is like 2 times your size.
Yeah, honestly speaking.
You cannot really push him away. You can't push him off. Yeah, it's just not gonna.
And sometimes like the more you resist or like the harder you struggle, it might trigger something in them.
Yeah.
And if the guy has some like issues.
And actually, for a little bit more of tea, right?
Okay.
After a while, after I started to say no to him, so initially I would always say yes, ma. He would convince me into saying yes, ma. And then after that, I stopped saying yes. I stopped giving in, and I was just like, you know what, like no. And at one point, I caught him like texting another girl to ask her to go to his house. And when I asked him, why would you do this? And he was like, because you wouldn't do this with me, what? So obviously I need to,
Find somebody
yeah,
else.
find somebody
to do
else.
it
Like,
with.
because clearly you don't love me enough to do these kind of things with me, ma.
So why is it?
Yeah, so you get me?
This
Like,
is
this was
a topic for another episode. But
Yeah.
does your very active sex life equals to I
Yeah.
love you?
and this actually created such deep-rooted issues in me, right? That I have always, and I would say that until today, I would still have this kind of like unhealthy, like, balance between the two.
Yeah.
How much I love this person and how much I would do with this person. Or rather, like, to prove that.
It's very hard to grasp lah.
Yeah.
Like trying to understand or trying to come to terms that because you're so accustomed to this belief already that having for you to go back to the norm, which this doesn't equal this, right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult also. And sometimes it translates like into your love life also.
Yeah.
Like if you don't receive one or either, it equals to something. Yeah. I understand like where you are coming from. I mean, I have stories like that also, but not really in terms of giving. It is also giving, but giving in another way lah. Yeah, but we can talk about that in another episode.
Oh, can I just add one more point though?
Yeah.
It's not really just about the fear that I didn't want to speak up about it or like tell anybody about it, because I actually did not tell anybody about it until like maybe a year later. And I only started telling more people, like my closer friends, about this in like way later also lah. I really did not talk about it at all for like maybe a year or 1.5 years ish. So it was not really just the fear of what this guy might do, it was also the shame, because I
Yeah.
grew up like, as Emma.
Correct.
And like I didn't want to talk about it for the longest time ever because I didn't know what people would feel about me. And because it's gonna get so public, like what am I going to face? Like what kind of backlash am I going to face
Correct.
for this? And will people just call me like, oh, why are you so stupid then? Yeah, it's also that lah. It's also the victim blaming
It's
that
not
might
nice
come
to
from
be
it.
discussing from this, like to discuss a scenario like this also, which is why a lot of victims don't speak up ma. For me, I've always found it very difficult to draw the line between what is just something that I say no to. I didn't say no to. Because sometimes there are people who say that like, oh, you can say no but you never stop him. Or like you never run or you don't do anything to stop it happening, right? You just say no, but some people can still take the no as a yes. So I've always found it very difficult to come to terms with that, because personally I have had experience where I was intoxicated, the person was also intoxicated, but because the person was somebody very close to me, a very good friend of mine, and I trusted him to take care of me lah, because that's what he told me he would. And he had never had any sus intentions towards me. He has always taken care of me like a little sister. So when we drank together, and then he told me that he will send me to work the next day, and I know that he has a spare room, so I was like, okay, sure. Until he got into the bed with me, and I was like, wait, this is wrong. Like, this is weird. Why are you in bed with me? Because I'm in his spare room, and he has his own room, Then after that, I was like, okay, this is weird. Then, at that point of time, I was quite intoxicated. And many people say that like, oh, why do you allow yourself to get this? He said, but it's because I trusted him. I've been with him for a good year before this happened.
And that's the thing. So are women not allowed to trust any man?
Yeah, it's
Other than like your immediate family?
Which we can also say, there are some people that
Yeah, exactly.
as a family or a relative also can do some pretty messed up things.
Yeah, so is it just because of this
family.
is it just because of this messed up group of people that women lose their rights to trust?
Yeah, because I would have never expected this to happen until it actually happened, and ruined the entire friendship, by the way, because when it happened, right, I did say I'm not comfortable with it. I was very gone. I didn't even have enough energy to like genuinely, because like before that I was puking my guts out, literally. And it was because I had a very long day at work, and then I went to that gathering afterwards, like a friend's gathering, and out of that friend group, he's the one I trust the most. So I know this guy for so many years, until when it actually happened. And then I did say no, but then in my head, right, what was flashing through my head is that, like, as much as I didn't want it, I didn't want to ruin the friendship. Like, to me, it's like, if I just close both eyes, I was just praying for it to be over. Like, genuinely, I was just praying for it to be over. But I knew that I was saying no, because he asked me, and then I said no, and then he stopped, but then he tried again, then I said no again. And then after that, I just got too tired to resist, because he lived in such a big house. I was on the top floor. What am I supposed to do? Jump out the window? There's really nothing I can do. Yeah, so I just like I just praying for it to be over lah. And then eventually, I mean, he did come back and apologize to me, because he did realize that it's messed up. But what has happened?
I never got an apology.
Yeah, I mean, he sobered out and he like texted me and said, oh, I think we need to talk about this. I didn't mean it. I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, and I never tell anyone about it. I probably only told one person about it.
Yeah.
Because I was so ashamed, because I know that anyone that I tell, right, they confirm will just say that, why you never run? Why you never slap him?
Yeah.
Why you never stop it from happening? Why you allow yourself to get so drunk? How am I gonna retaliate to all those? Like,
Yeah.
just say that, like, I really trusted this guy, lor. And he's a
And
very
it's
good
not
friend
just
of mine,
the
lor.
trust that you have in like this kind of like familiar relationships as well. It's the fact that, it's tougher when it's just physical than when, they are playing a mind game with you. You get what I mean? They are trying to get you to say yes, knowing that you don't want it. Yeah, they are like trying to just like manipulate you into like saying yes in whatever ways that they have. I think that is the most toxic kind. I mean, all is bad, obviously, but I feel like it's puts a lot of mental stress on you as well, because it's a familiar relationship, and you don't know how to like say no without actually offending the person or potentially losing this person from your life. Yeah, a lot of times you don't want that to happen. What you want, like, to get like a best middle ground that you guys can both come to, and that often comes with sacrificing yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that most of us can agree. Women are brought up to with a very traditional mindset of like, oh, you need to submit, or like the man usually makes most decisions or are in charge of most things. So naturally, a woman should submit because we are weaker or anything along that line. But then now we're already in a modern society, so why is it that I still need to give it to a guy? Which is something I will.
Is simply because of like his physical advantages over me, or is it because like he's using our relationship, like be it friendship or intimate relationships, as a leverage to like get me to say yes?
I mean, it's some form of manipulation.
Yeah.
We'll talk about manipulators and gaslighters in another episode.
Yes. Why do you think it's such a taboo topic in Singapore? Like, why do you think people not talk about it? Rather, like, victims don't stand up. Because personally for me, right, the reason, like I said, the reason why I didn't stand up was just because of fear and shame. And I just felt like this would tarnish my name, and this would tarnish my reputation. This would be a terrible look for me. It would be dragging not just his name through mud, but mine as well. Because how would people see me next time? I felt tainted. I felt dirty by him. And for quite a long time after that as well, I couldn't feel clean after any kind of interactions with guys. Even if I actually wanted to, after that I would still feel like it was disgusting, and like I was disgusting.
I mean, you confirm will still get flashbacks of it.
Yeah, and like it's the trauma that comes along with this as well. And not speaking up about it and it being taboo just really didn't help, like, because it being taboo was like, because I don't think, personally for me, my parents are not very traditional, but like I'm still brought up in a very Chinese household. My parents have never talked to me about sexual harassment before, or like what is okay, what is not. Okay, maybe they would tell me like, oh, if a stranger touch on here and here, it's not okay. But like after that, as a teenager growing up, they have never spoken to me about this. They have never spoken to me about like, where to draw the line in relationships as well. So it was very hard for me to navigate this by myself, and maybe we have sex ed in school, but they just tell us abstinence is key lah.
and use protection. That's about it.
Yeah, but like, growing up, there was never anyone that taught me how to navigate these kind of situations, or like, I actually didn't even know that this could have like, sexual assault could happen in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I state my means instant consent already. Yeah, that
Most
was
of
all the
us have.
corrupted things that I had in my head because of like not having a proper guidance into this kind of things. Yeah, so it's taboo because we think it's shameful lah.
Yeah, I would say most people think it's shameful because traditionally, when a woman loses her virginity, that means she's not clean anymore.
Yeah.
That is the traditional
That's crazy, guys.
mindset. And which is why we try to avoid talking about anything that has happened to us, be it in a relationship, even if it's non-consensual, as well as outside things that happen to us. You definitely get sexually assaulted or like sexual harassed in public before.
Actually, assaulted not really, but harassed, yeah.
I mean, assaulted can be defined as a lot of things. Can be just like a grab, or can be like, I think, more than that.
Yeah, but I think sexual assault was not really like was not very common like face to face until like I started drinking and like going to clubs and all that. Everyone is drunk. I've never really gotten myself into a situation where I'm drunk and the guy took advantage of me. I've always like used my last like 2% to get myself home. But I think that is also because I have been hurt before. So I would take like extra cautious, be more cautious to like take myself home and make sure that I get home. But yeah, that's the thing also. Like,
I mean, from that incident onwards, subsequently, I don't get drunk unless I'm around female friends.
Yeah.
They will send me to my doorstep. And even if I were to go out one-on-one with a guy, and there was another very close situation also, but I got myself out of the situation because I know that I was quite gone. And then I didn't manage to go home. The guy brought me to his apartment and I locked myself in the toilet. Because I know what was about to happen, what this guy was intending to do. So I locked myself in the toilet and I called my friend to come pick me up. So that's why lor.
So why do you think it's so taboo?
Because of shame, and because why would you want to tell people that this has happened to you? Because everybody will see it as a shameful thing. Majority of the public, right, their view on this is that why didn't you do this? Why did you allow this to happen? Why do you dress this way? That is what most people say when a victim tries to share their side of the story. But very rarely will have people say that like, oh, I feel you. Or like, well, the guy shouldn't have done this. The guy should have known better. Guy should have known better than to not take advantage of you. Yeah, so yeah, why is it that nobody talks about that? Why is it that nobody talks about how a guy should know how to act?
And actually, I think in like 8 out of 10 SA cases happen in familiar relationships.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
So a lot of it happens because they have that leverage on you, because they have that advantage that you trust them. They take advantage of this trust that you have in them and benefit themselves.
Correct. Because to them, oh, we have this relationship, be it a friendship or an actual relationship or a kinship, where they use it against you and they say that like, oh, because we have this bond, right? You should allow me to do what I want with you, and you shouldn't have any issues against it, because after all, I love you and I'm very close to you and I'll take care of you, and whatever I do for you is for the better of us.
My little sister. Okay, and another thing is only 3 out of 10 girls or victims, right, would feel safe reporting it as well. I think a lot of pressure that society puts on victims is also very scary. Like the things you have to go through if you open up to speak about it. Actually, right now, even as I'm saying and sharing my story, right, the first time I ever shared it in public, there's a lot of pressure on me still. Even though my concept and my mindset has changed a lot over the years that have passed, it's just still different. When I was in secondary school, I think I was in Sec 2, so I was 14, or maybe even younger, maybe even Sec 1. But basically, this male classmate decided to text me and ask for my nudes. I don't even think I had boobs yet. So I don't know what he wanted to see, but okay. He texted me to ask me for pictures, and I saw him as a friend. I obviously didn't want to have this kind of relationship, and I was 14, 13, 14.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. And then I reported it to the teacher lah, with relevant screenshots. And I think he got away with caning. Yeah,
I think caning is quite common.
yeah, he was my age as well. He's young and whatnot. And actually, he explained to me afterwards. He said like, "Oh, actually, it wasn't me, blah blah blah." But like that was the explanation that he gave to me afterwards lah. And actually, there was this girl classmate that I think had a crush on that guy or something like that.
Okay.
And she was apparently, this is I didn't know about it because she never confronted me directly. But from what I was hearing from other classmates was that she liked him, and then she went to tell people that I edited the screenshots, and that like I was making it all up, which honestly blows my mind because the only time I actually had courage, this was before my said relationship, obviously. So like the one time I had courage to talk or like report this to an adult or like someone who can bring justice, I was victim blamed lah. Or like the response I got was, "Oh, she just wants attention. She just bullshitting. She just edited the screenshots." But like, why would I edit the screenshots? For what? I would close a blind eye to that victim blaming situation because I feel like we were all very young and we probably let the emotional side get the best of us. So she probably didn't think much as well. So no hate on her. But yeah, like it's just all these kind of little things. And honestly, throughout secondary school, I was also getting sexualized up, down, left, right lah. Like
Yeah.
and in fact, seniors will ask me for my nudes as well. But like it was just terrible, like to go through these kind of things in school because school is supposed to be a safe and conducive environment for
you to learn.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a safe place. School is supposed to be a safe place. And if students are not feeling safe, then how are they supposed to even focus on like studies and whatnot?
Correct. This brings me to this thing that I just remembered. You are a teacher that student before?
No.
I had a teacher.
That's crazy.
I'm not the victim, but he was a very close teacher of mine. So he was my primary school teacher, and apparently this girl is one batch above me or one batch below me. So he's my higher mother tongue. No, he's my Chinese teacher. Basically, he's my Chinese teacher, Chinese primary school teacher, and I was very close to him because I was a very bad student lah. Like my Chinese was quite terrible. I don't know how to write. You can say, but I don't know how to write. So he was always very angry at me. But I was very close to him because he's very nice. Like he scold, but he don't really scold,
So
Until
is he actually nice?
after I graduated, then news came out that this teacher had a relationship with a student, and when they had this said relationship, right, she was P5. And by the way, my teacher was when I was
they were
his
having sex?
from what I heard lah, as in from the article. So by the way, he's married. Like, at that point in time, he was married, and his wife was
crazy.
was expecting their first child. But basically, based on the article, what happened was that
That's crazy.
he was giving her tuition, like tuition for Chinese or something like that, and then end up he started to request her to do certain things lah, and it escalated lor.
Oh my god.
And it was quite shocking also when we as in me and my classmates and my good friends that are all his students heard about this, because we never expected him to
Actually, I remember something as well. When I was in primary school, I used to go to like childcare after school. And there was this one childcare teacher. I wasn't his student, but I knew who he was. And I don't know if he remembers me. But yeah, and basically I graduated from primary school. And then like a few years later, I was, doing TikTok. I was getting quite a bit of attraction. And he DM'd me on Instagram. I pressed his profile. I recognized his profile. I recognized him, his face and his name. And he wanted to pay me to do this. I don't remember if it was to pay me to have sex or was it to pay me to go on dates with him.
How old were you?
I was 14. Basically 14-year-old. My life was very eventful. But yeah, I think I was 14. I don't remember if he wanted to have sex with me. I think he did.
Yeah.
Because I reported this to my primary school teacher,
Okay.
like, you know, giving him like the details, like, oh, by the way, this is happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, and I don't remember what happened after that, but I'm pretty sure he got fired. Because can you imagine? And the thing is, when I was 14, I was very open about my age. I was telling everyone how old I was. So it's not possible that he didn't know how old I was as well.
Exactly.
It's quite impossible lah. So I don't think there was a police case filed against him as well. I'm not too sure. That
And isn't
happened.
it like scary? These men are twice our age.
Yeah.
And wow, in fact, how old was I? I was like, wait, P5 is what? 10, 11? 11, right? My teacher was confirm way older than that. Like, he was married and he was
Yeah.
expecting his first child. He's like confirm in his late 20s, 30s even.
Yeah.
And he's like targeting a
Yeah, exactly.
child.
Exactly. And this is the thing, these are like people you trust to leave your kids with. So who can you really trust then? If you cannot trust your friends, you cannot trust your boyfriend, you cannot trust
Yeah.
people that you're not close to, obviously. And you can't even trust people who with authorities in school and in workplaces. That is crazy. Then
Exactly. And then like there are a lot of people that say that like, oh, the girl probably allowed it to happen. She's a
Yeah.
child. She don't even know what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah, and even if it's not a child, let's say like a young teenager, like let's say me when I was 14, they could have easily like manipulated me into doing a lot of things that were wrong, because it's so easy to manipulate
Yeah.
a teenager.
With barely any
Their
opinions.
mindsets are changing as day goes, you know, like every single
Yeah.
day they wake up with like a new idea and a new theory. They are at a stage where they are finding themselves and finding what mindset and value suits them.
That's when you learn what is black and white.
Yeah.
What is right, what is wrong.
And that's the time that, you know, these people are like targeting and, you know, trying to like,
Grooming. We call
Yeah.
it grooming.
which is crazy lah. So, but personally, these are things that happened to me, but I didn't, you know, like fall for it. Yeah, like I still knew to protect myself and whatnot. But these are also things that I have never really talked very openly about on social media and whatnot as well. So because I didn't want this to be something that was tied to my name, because of like, you know, like the stereotypes that come with it and the
it's usually
impressions.
like the fear of judgment or in a sense whereby you don't trust any form of justice to be brought to you. In a sense, we are not very familiar with that also. When you are 14, do you know that you call police, they can help you with this? You probably wouldn't know
exactly.
also what. That's why you would choose to tell the closest person with authority, which is teacher, another teacher. But if one teacher can do that to you,
Yeah, exactly. Then who to trust?
I think one of my principals also got a case like that. But he's a guy and his target was male students. That's a topic for another time, okay? But anyways, let me share like a story that I heard from a friend of mine who replied to our Q&A also. I posted a Q&A, you posted a Q&A, right? So my friend said that she faced some issues at her workplace where her superiors, who are men, don't know their boundaries with her or like the female colleagues, and all her colleagues don't really speak up about this, and she's very confused also because she don't understand why people don't want, like, why they don't want to speak up about this, because apparently it has been going on for a while. And basically this guy manager of theirs, right, always like will give them very judgmental stares or like sexualize them in a way and make very nasty remarks that are very sexualizing a woman in general. Or sometimes they will have inappropriate gestures. They touch your back or they touch your hip
for too long.
for
the
too
hand
long,
that
or like the hand that lingers, you know. And then like usually most of the female colleagues just brush it off. Like, you know, like because people are too afraid, like they are too afraid to speak up against this person because he is definitely of a higher position than them, a higher ranking than them, so they don't want to lose
And
their
it's
job.
it's like when it's tied to your job and your career, you could lose your income, and you know, like it's a job. This is what you do for a living. If you would be afraid to, like, you know, if you speak up about it, what if you lose your job? What if you have no more income? How
What
is
if
this
this
going to
person
affect you?
Especially if this person have the right to fire you,
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to offend
let's say imagine like, you know, you speak up about it, and then this your superior not happy that you know, then he can twist the entire story
and say that you
and
made it up and
yeah.
and you are accusing him of doing something
and
like
then
this.
this thing would just live under you, like this is just going to be part of your reputation for like possibly the rest of her life. Like,
especially if like, cause to her, if she speaks up but nobody else wants to speak up, she doesn't see the need to speak up because the rest of her female colleagues are not gonna stand on her side because they're all very scared of like offending this person. She just don't understand why is it that we allow men to abuse their authority like that. Like
that's why. But that's the thing. Silence would perpetuate the abuser's control. The more you stay silent, the more they think they can do this without getting into trouble because you are scared of what happens after you speak up about it.
Because my friend is quite new and it's also because of the influence of the environment. She hasn't spoken up about it, and why she chose to anonymously tell us this, right, is because she just tell me that like, oh, everyone keep quiet about it, so I don't want to speak about it also. And
it's
she's
the peer pressure
lowest
as
tier
well.
one.
Yeah, it's peer pressure as well. Like, you know, like if nobody around me are going to really scream so loudly for help and talk about this loudly, then I shall not as well, because I should not be the odd one out. I shouldn't be the black sheep.
And I think also fear that nobody will stand with her because everyone is so afraid to offend this person, right, that they're not gonna stand with her, and to her she will lose her job if she brings it up because she's of so much lower status or so much lower position than this person. Yeah, and I feel that workplace harassment is pretty common. There are also people out there that messages their colleagues and all that in the middle of the night, hoping for something or asking for something, asking them to come over in under the disguise of like discussing about a project or something like that. So it's very difficult for girls to tell whether or not this guy can be trusted or not. As much as we want to trust you, because most of the time these people are either older than us or have higher authority than us, then we just choose to trust them, but end up you never know whether like it's a right move to trust them or not to trust them. But all this boils down to the society norms and everything.
Then I personally think that obviously when people tell girls to be careful, it's also for their good intention. Like, you know, you should be careful. You shouldn't put yourself in danger, and you shouldn't put yourself in a position where people can easily take advantage of you and easily just make use of you. But at the same time, I feel like because it's so easy for the responsibility to fall on women's that we are lacking in teaching boys proper ways of setting boundaries with a woman. You know, like no means no, and that you shouldn't. It's not even just about saying no. I think a lot of guys, and a lot of not a lot of guys. I apologize, but a lot of these abusers, right? They know how to say take the no for an answer, or like they would stop when it's a very certain no. But it's those that manipulate you and change your mindset and pressure you into staying silent about it and into accepting it. I think that is the biggest issue. And for how we can fix it, I honestly have no idea, because it's a very tough thing to fix, because it's in a lot like of these abusers, like
I feel it's
nature
quite embedded into the society also. Things are like that. But I feel what could help would probably be encouraging victims to speak up about it. We can have places like where people speak up about it anonymously and whatnot. Like, I mean, do you see like certain news channels where they allow victims to come out and be anonymous, that they will change their voice, they will blur out their faces and everything, and just allow them to share the story. And I really like that because I feel it is for the purpose of education. Because I feel if it's not talked about enough, then there will be nobody coming out to speak about it. But do you realize that when one person talk about it, then 2% talk about it, then there will be more people talking about it.
And obviously we are doing this also because we want to be that.
Want to encourage you guys to come out and talk about your issues and everything.
But I also think that is one thing, you know, like you definitely have to speak up. You definitely have to know your rights, and you know that you need to know that you know, it's not just about you, it's about the progress of lessening this kind of cases. It's not just about protecting yourself and getting justice for yourself, it's also about like the greater good.
And the moment people around you also and the younger girls that grow up to face these issues, if it's not resolved.
It's not just about, oh, I speak up about it and my abuser is going to get into the necessary trouble that he has to get into, but it's also it's a community that we have in Singapore, and we should all progress for the better good. And another very important thing is also to really teach your boys how to, you know, respect boundaries at a very young age. You really need to start at a very young age. You cannot start at teenage years or like halfway through, like 15, 16. They cannot learn that at
Correct.
16. They need to learn that since young, having to respect women in a certain way and not seeing women as play toys.
Yeah, it should be passed from father to son. And for boys to educate other boys also. I believe if you are brought up very well and in a well-respected family where both genders are equally treated, right? There's no like, oh, women should listen to men, or men should have more rights over women, or like whatever a man says is right. And when this mindset is passed down from father to son, oh, this is the way you should be treating a girl, then they will grow up to be a very good man, or they will grow up to behave normally. I don't need you to be super gentlemanly. I'm just talking about restoring the norm to men behaving the way that they should be behaving rather than whatever society deems as the norm. And this is more of, because I feel for guys, right, I rarely see guys call guys out for wrong behavior. Yeah.
Because brotherhood ma.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, I mean, this is just my own opinion, okay, but don't fault me for this. I feel some guys glorify such actions. Yeah, like being able to do this kind of thing to a girl, or getting a girl to do this kind of thing with you. Some people just find it as
wow, you damn
like they really glorify it, like, wow, I managed to do this, or my girlfriend do this for me because I asked her to. But sometimes it's like, you shouldn't be encouraging your friend to be doing such things.
Yeah, it's the fact that they have a very empty self-confidence. They need, it's like
masculinity. What?
No, masculine superiority.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's
alpha male mindset.
Yeah, the alpha male mindset that if I can get a woman to do this for me, I must be of a certain value.
Yeah.
But that's not true. You are not of certain value just because, you know, your girlfriend would do this for you. It's because she loves you. And the love comes from her, nothing about you.
Correct. She only agreed to do this for you because she loves you and she trusts you. And it's not because you are any special or any form of amazing boyfriend, okay? Yeah. So for guys, maybe don't dismiss or downplay stories where, like, I mean, most of the comments that you see on victims sharing their story, it will always be mostly guys saying that, like, oh, then you shouldn't dress like that.
I think it would be very, very meaningful for a girl to hear that
from a guy perspective, right?
From a guy perspective, oh, that's actually very messed up what you've been through.
Yeah.
It's not just because, like, you know, we value guys' opinions more, but it's just like we need more guys to stand against these abusers as well.
Yeah, like call out bad behavior a lot in when other men you see are not doing right things or whatnot. Because, example, I have friends, right, that when their friend is too intoxicated and start to harass girls, or in a sense become an annoyance, they will put him away and tell him that, like, bro, don't do this. Like, hey, she's not comfortable, like, go away, bro. And this is their own friend, by the way. Yeah. Or when like guys stand up against other guys when they see a girl getting hit on and she looks very uncomfortable and whatnot. I think those are very nice behavior. That's why I say that it's not that all guys are like that.
Yeah, of course. I have the guy friends that I'm very close to as well would always look out for me. When we go out to drink, they will always make sure that, you know, I'm kept safe. And, you know, like, whoever that they think are, like, trying to take advantage of me, they would do anything to protect me. And I feel like it's such a blessing. But that's the thing. I don't think it should feel like that. I think it should feel normal.
Not just like it's a blessing, just there shouldn't even be this scenario in the first place. Why is it unsafe to begin with? Shouldn't the environment be like...
it's not just that also. It's because I would, you know, like, do anything to protect my female friends if we go out, you get what I mean, and she's drunk. Maybe you wouldn't feel like, let's say if you're very drunk and I take care of you, right, you wouldn't feel like, wow, it's such a blessing that my girlfriend is like this.
That's
but
my
when
point.
But when it's a guy friend, right, you will feel like, oh my god, lucky my guy friend is nice. Or this guy is such a good man. But
this just shows that that's not the norm.
Yeah.
And it should be the norm.
Yeah, but you would think like, oh, this guy is such a nice man. But then you wouldn't think like, oh, but this is what girls would do. And she's just an average woman.
A top tier man is just an average woman. Sad to say we agree with that.
Of course, it's not all men. And there are women like that also lah. Yeah, but we're not dismissing that, but we're just
In
here
the
to talk about
future,
girls. Yeah.
don't worry, we will
Yeah.
take into account males' perspective of sexual harassment. Yeah. Collect more stories. I would say collect more stories, encourage people to share, and we use our platform to talk about these kind of things. And eventually have it become a norm for people to speak up about it. Maybe have more initiatives. We are one lah, but definitely not just us to be doing this. Eventually, if we can scale it up, we'll be very happy for that also.
But I think at the end of the day, the purpose of this video is also to encourage girls, at any stages to always speak up. You are not being a drama queen. You're not too sensitive. You're not being too
You're
petty.
not
You're not overreacting. Whatever you experience is valid. If you feel like you have been, you can
Assaulted, harassed, stalked.
if you feel
If
uncomfortable,
you feel uncomfortable,
just speak up and
Speak
tell
up
somebody about
and
it.
tell someone. It doesn't have to be an authority. If you feel like that's too much for you to speak to, especially because you have an innate fear of being judged and whatnot, then just tell your friend or just tell
Somebody.
a family member. You don't have to hide it alone. And sometimes it can eat into you also, and it can affect and alter your entire brain and your entire mindset when you view certain things in the future. And I feel that we should stop making jokes about it lor. I feel that assault and harassments are things that we take too unseriously. It's like as society, and nobody talks about it in a serious manner, and we're not educated in a sense whereby we are taught to say or to speak up. In sexual education, there's nobody that tells you that, like, oh, somebody touch you can call the police. Usually they don't really tell you like that. They usually just tell you like, oh, just stay away from having sex and have protected sex. That's about it. But nobody really tells us where to draw the line
What is
when
okay
in a
not
boy-girl
okay.
relationship, or any form of relationship between a guy and a girl lah. Yeah. So to end off this episode, I'm very happy that we had this conversation today.
And I'm very happy because this, like, especially my personal stories, I feel like it's something that I have been so afraid to share. But after maturing, and thinking about what I've been through, I feel like this should be something that is said, especially because of the platform and the attention that I have on me as a content creator and all that. I feel like if this story is going to be out there and is going to help anyone, even if it's just one girl, to feel like she's not alone going through this, and to feel like she can be supported and she can get the help that she needs, I feel like this story is worth sharing. So
yeah, I mean, the whole objective and the whole movement of this is that we want women to feel heard, to feel seen, and to feel validated for any of their concerns, their struggles, and issues that they were used to be too afraid to speak up about. And we'll be very happy if you guys can reach out to us and share with us your stories. And we want it to be a safe space for you guys to be able to share what unfortunate events have happened to you, where you are able to confide in us, and we will always offer a listening ear lah.
yes, and we will always be here to speak for you.
Yes, anonymously, not anonymously. I mean, in the future, we will invite people to real people to come and their stories.
Talk. If you have any interest in being one of them, you can let us know as well.
Correct. Or if you have anyone that you want to see on this podcast or this talk show, you can also drop us a comment.
So if you guys like our initiation and our background and what we are trying to do this for, please like this video to give us some support so we can keep this going, and drop a comment if you want to raise any kind of suggestions that we should talk about, and share this video to your friend, because you never know what your friend is going through,
and maybe she is a victim of such things.
Yes. And also share this to your guy friends, because
they need to hear
yes,
a girl's perspective.
Yes.
If no girl ever stood up to them before. But
yeah. Anyways, this is the end of our first official episode. This is SheSaid Studios,
where we say what needs to be said
in our own ways.
Bye-bye. Bye.